some of you haven't been here in a long time, and if you haven't, you've never seen this area before. You might remember the old flagpole, which I think years ago we called Old Rusty, right? This was Old Rusty, right? And then we painted it and dedicated it to Bill Joyce. It was a Bill Joyce flagpole. So we thought this would be a wonderful place. And Dwayne, if you need a little time to get up, I'm going to have you come up for a second just to explain what you built here. So we thought this would be the most fitting place for our Wall of Fame. And I keep saying it, I've never been overly enthused about the name Wall of Fame, because I don't think fame is what this is about. The people up there didn't do anything that they did for fame. But Wall of Thanks or Wall of Honor, it just doesn't roll off the tongue as well. So Dwayne, if you want to come up for a minute and just talk about what you did here, because I know it's very special with your circles. Come on up. They should understand. You can be brief.
A lot of digging and bricklaying going on over here. So Kerry kind of came up with the initial design for it. We implemented it and that kind of expanded a little bit. So we have the 3 stairs here, which is the 3 parts of the Scout Oath, and then the 11 stairs back there, which is the Scout Law. What is the Golden Rule. 3 sizes of the 3 circles is the Golden Rule. Now, it was all the alumni that came out here and laid block. We had scout troops helping, and we have native plants all around the area. So, is that good?
Well, try to give you credit for the work you guys did. So, part of this is to have a reason, and as I had a conversation with some people here a few minutes ago, is to have a reason to be able to look back and see all the people who made our time here possible. People that I didn't know, and I've learned about a lot of folks who I never met, but I learned about the part they played in what became some of my greatest times ever. We're here at Cachalot. Someone once said to me, and I never forgot that, which is you never give back as much as you got from it. And it's very true, and I think about that a lot, and I kind of shake my head because you knew Scoutmaster Mr. Monask, who said that to me, and I was quoting his wisdom. Strike that from the tape. I don't want him to know that I was quoting his wisdom. Leave it at that. But it's true. I mean, we can never give back as much as we got from it. And that's why we're here today. So a couple of people to honor here today. We have 2 members of our Wall of Fame up on our wall who are with us today. Mr. Larry Harney and Mr. Ed Tavares. But we'd also like to take a moment of silence for the people who are on our wall and will be on our wall who are no longer with us. And now moving on to today's event. We have 3 people to honor today who have played a huge part in the history of Cachalot, in the people, both scouts, scouters, and others who have grown here. And the first is Mr. Ray Rogers, who Wall of Fame inductee Ed Tavares will tell us about.
Ray Rogers was one of these hands-on people, but not simply brute strength with a shovel and so forth. He also was a figure-outer. He could figure out how to make something do, how to do it differently. I knew Ray, and I guess Larry Harney knew Ray, I know that. Back in the 50s to 60s, in that period. Ray was Cub Master of Pack 54, in Fairhaven, and he sort of became, well, he became a camp ranger here, unofficially. Whenever we lost a camp ranger and there was no one here, Ray would be here. And he'd come in with his family, sometimes he would just stay here. Ray was the kind of guy that would create projects for himself. When he was here, there were very few buildings in camp, probably no more than 3 or so. Most of the well points that you see around camps are the hand pumps. There's still a few around. He drilled and put those in. He was the kind of guy who didn't wait to be asked. He just did it. Put in a tremendous amount of hours of manual labor into this place, and very often designing whatever it was that was being built. Most people have forgotten the memory of Ray. A few of us haven't. His family was here with him sometimes. They'd spend a week and sometimes a week getting camp ready or taking care of it in the off-season. He even involved in his brother. Ray was one of those guys that they don't come along very often. We're lucky to have him. There is no one here to represent Ray's family, but I'm going to ask Vic Sylvia to come up and receive the award for Ray. And as is our custom, when there's no one to receive it, we arrange for a private presentation for Ray.
And again, as we are able to track down members of Ray's family, which we haven't been very successful at yet, we will be sure that they get that in his honor. Our next inductee this year is Mr. Paul Seguer, and Mr. Bill Bejan, our association secretary, will present for Mr. Seguer.
Well, good afternoon. I personally never met Paul, but his name has come up in conversations with the troop I'm associated with now, which is Troop 74, as Paul was once the scoutmaster of that same troop, Troop 74. So it's my privilege and honor to be able to read to you a little bit about Paul. Paul Seguer's name was synonymous with service for much of the 70s and the early 80s at Camp Cachalot. Paul was a longtime member of the camping committee of the Cachalot and Moby Dick councils. A contractor and a carpenter, he applied his skills to many projects at camp, leading to the construction of cabins 1 and cabins 2, along with many Beaver Day work weekends, where he was a constant presence, leading many work projects and assisting in many others. At Camp Nokachoke, as Camp Nokachoke was still a going concern at this point in time, he also put work in over there, leading the construction of a new Ranger residence. He was a man who was always willing to help, whether he was swinging a hammer or setting bricks, and was a continual help to the Rangers at Cachalot for his entire scouting career. It is hard to overstate just how much work he put in at Camp Cachalot. When the NEMAT Lodge established the annual service award to be presented to the arrowmen who had contributed the most to Camp Cachalot, they named the award in Paul's honor, and the Paul Seguer Service Award was presented for many years. He served the Scouts of Cachalot and Moby Dick Council in other ways as well, serving on many training committees, including Wood Badge, the Restoration Committee, the Cranberry Festival Committee, the Cachalot District Committee, and also as the Cub Master of Pack 74 and the Scout Master of Troop 74 in Dartmouth. He was also an advisor to the NEMAT Lodge. During his scouting career, he was awarded the Scouter's Key, the District Award of Merit, the Silver Beaver. He earned his Wood Badge beads And he also attained the highest honor in the Order of Arrow, the Vigil honor. And that was Paul Seguer. If Denise can come up and she can present the plaque. Paul, to you. There we go. Thank you.
And again, anyone who would like to come up and speak about Mr. Seguer, we encourage that. We're definitely open to additional folks who'd like to share the memories of Mr. Seguer or Mr. Rogers. Okay, our next inductee, our 2015 ceremony into the Wall of Fame, is Miss Brenda Pomfret. I'd like to introduce Mr. Ron Quartermarsh, who was a leader at Cachalot for a long time and Moby Dick Council, and one of our best ones to read and present for Brenda.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Before I go into Brenda's service to Camp Cachalot, I'd like to give you some background information regarding her service in scouting and awards she has received. Brenda's been a member in the scouting program for over 36 years. She was involved with PAC 55 of Fairhaven, where she was a den leader, Webelos leader, and assistant Cub master. At the district level, she was a unit commissioner, assistant district commissioner, and Cub Scout Roundtable commissioner. She was a member of the council training committee and camping committee, and she was the chairperson for the council Pinewood Derby for 5 years. Brenda's district and council awards include Den Leader Training Award, Scouters Training Award, and Cub Master Training Award. She is a recipient of the District Award of Merit and Silver Beaver, the highest award a council can bestow on a scouter. Brenda has also earned her Wood Badge beads. Brenda has also been a volunteer and staff member for the Relay of Life program. A lot of stuff here. It's been around for a long time. I said I'd be good. Now about her specific contributions to Camp Cachalot. Brenda was the Cub Day Camp program director for 18 years. She was the field sports and rifle range director for over 10 years. Brenda is a certified NRA instructor with certificates in pistol, rifle, shotgun, black powder, and home firearm safety. She introduced the NRA's youth shooting program, which included patches, medals, and certificates that scouts could earn. She also had our scouts shooting at silhouettes and lucky target shoots. And here's a little bit of trivia that I've got to tell you about. When I first met her back in 1987, January of 87, I found out that when I went down to the rifle range here, there was some scout leaders or adults that were concerned or disappointed that they'd seen a female on the rifle range. Little did they know that Brenda had a callus on her trigger finger, a big old callus. Brenda and her husband were part of a shooting team. She placed first with a .44 on silhouettes with Massachusetts tournaments, championships. Her and her husband and the team traveled to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho by car to participate in the internationals, where she placed third in silhouettes out there. So anybody that came out there and laughed and said, oh geez, you know, her, I'm saying we were very lucky to have her out there. You can never tell the cover of a book, you know what's inside, right? Of that book. And here I am shaking with relief. That's it. Brenda was the assistant chairperson for many honorees held here at camp. She was the rifle range mayor on more than 10 Klondike derbies. Brenda is a founding member of the Cachalot Camp Master Corps, remains an active camp master to this day. She was also a backup nurse at many camp events. She has also been a participant in many Beaver weekends. Brenda recently retired after spending 25 years as a nursing supervisor for a rehab facility in New Bedford. So anyway, I've known her for all these years. I would like at this time for her to come up here, please. Brenda, come on.
Putting you on the spot, Brenda.
Yeah, I got to put her on the spot. I also want her sons, Scott, which is interesting because Scott grew up in this camp, and he's a master plumber. So when there's plumbing to be done in this camp, since Brenda can't do it, come on up here, Scott. I want your Aubrey and Brett, they can come up here too. Yeah, let's get the grandkids up here. I also want her other son. He's a master plumber. I want the master electrician up here, her other son, Bob. Come on up here. So in his electrical work, she's not an electrician. Bob's out here doing electrical work. And I like to have, like Scott, his wife Stephanie's out, is home sick. I like to have Dawn. Now, we gotta get up here.
Nice try, Don.
Dawn, it's interesting because Dawn grew up in this camp too. Now, what's interesting about this whole scenario here, Bob was a lifeguard. That's my daughter, Dawn, grew up in this camp. They're married. We've got 2 grandchildren, Casey and Calissa, over there, please. I don't want to forget, Brenda has her brother here, David. Raise your hand. We have David. There's David. And Betty Jo. And Betty Jo. So anyway, for her many contributions in the forms of program and service at Camp Cachalot, Brenda is well deserving of a spot on our Wall of Fame. Now I'd like to have Dennis Wilkinson, who coined the word, as far as I know, Camp Mom, to make the presentation.
You guys better be nice.
It's interesting how we all grow up in camp, they all get married and have kids and everything. It's all in the family.
I was told to take pictures.
Oh, you told me. Well, anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to Brian. Thank you.
And again, if there is anyone who would like to come up and, yeah. But remember, we're at a Boy Scout camp, Mr. DeGray. Hold on, so, anyone like to come up and speak about Brenda? Now is the time. You're gonna stay right here. And you guys don't know me, I'm Chico DeGrace. I used to be on the staff years back, way in the old days. If you know Brenda, she hates this right now. Now, you heard they said Dennis coined the term of Camp Mom. I'll tell you what used to happen. Archie, myself, Russell Monass, a few others, Dennis. When we worked here on the staff, we also worked Cub Day Camp. All right, Tim?
Volunteer.
Oh yeah, there's no payment. We can get paid anyway. It doesn't make a difference. $35 a week for staff, something back then. But this is back in the 80s. Yeah, Cub Day Camp was all volunteer. And Brenda would be our mother for the 2 weeks or so we did that, or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it was. And because 4, because Brenda would let us do this, we get to stay here every night instead of going home with the Cubs and come back every day. And we stayed in the old Scout village over the staff village. And she took care of it. She made sure we were being good boys. She made sure we were, being bathed. And she made sure of everything else. But she took the best of care. Yeah, Iggy, I don't know about him. But we even stayed at a camper there for a couple of years. Then my father's camp we stayed in that. Yeah, but we were able to give our time and our hours and our dedication to the camp because of Brenda. Bob and Scott, we've known them for years. Way down here, Scott worked for me on the archery range there at Cub Day Camp way back then. And it was just really, really nice for us to be able to give to Cachalot because Brenda gave to us. Once again, selfless dedication to the camp and service to watch us. I came here today just for her. I love her. There's more. There's another one. Oh my God! I think I know it.
No trench coat.
That's a long story.
That's another long story that we won't get into here. So, as Chico was talking about before, very often for Cub Day Camp, we were out here, we were unpaid, and my first year out here on so I came out here my first summer in '86 for Cub Day Camp, and the man who had been our program director that summer, Larry Gillette, had a trailer down on the waterfront, but I was staying in with Russ Monass while we were volunteering out here. And after the end of the first week, Brenda had gotten word that I hadn't really been eating very well that week. So she brought me into the office, and waiting for me was a much smaller box of Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Yeah, there were. I think I owe her some Corn Flakes, because she sat me down that morning, and after I finished the first box of Corn Flakes, no sugar, just milk, she handed me another little box of Corn Flakes, and then another little box of Corn Flakes, and she made sure that I pretty much packed in that entire week's worth of calories in Corn Flakes in that one morning sitting in there. I made sure to eat the rest of the time I was there that summer. And I won't eat Corn Flakes to this day. That was the first of, I think, 6 summers out here for me on day camp staff. It wouldn't have happened without Brenda.
You guys are gonna make me cry. Stop it.
You deserve it. Congratulations.
All right, anyone else?
You gotta hold up the plaque and the box
Oh,
of
yeah, for
cornflakes.
a good Yes, there you go.
I was told that you wouldn't look at conflicts anymore.
That's true, actually. And he always references you when he explains it. So that, I believe, concludes our induction ceremony. What you all should know is, you can stay up here. What you all should know is that the plaques that you see hanging up there, the framed pictures with a little explanation, that will be hung up in camp in a building protected. So people can read it, people can see it, people can know about these contributions. And what will stay on the wall, what you see there are the stainless steel plaques. So those will be on the wall forever, as long as there's a wall. And it's really something when the sun gets low, because the sun sets that way. Most of you know who have been here, and it shines right off those plaques. And it's a really neat spot to sit and just enjoy the day and watch the kids running around. And then that stainless steel plaque will stay out here. So when you see that, you can then go reference the name inside the Welcome Center and see who those folks were who you may not have been lucky enough to know. So thank you very much for coming. Yes? Oh, Mr. Tavares would like to say something. I'm sorry.
Oftentimes, the people who are making sure that people are honored don't get honored for their contributions. On either side of our Wall of Fame, and also around the dining hall, you will see native plants, plants that are native to this area, so they will thrive. They're the work of Brian. Brian is the chairman of the Natural Resources Department at Bristol County Agricultural School. And he has the knowledge that most of us don't have, and he has seen to it that there are places in camp that are having plantings of native materials, things that are native to a pine barren forest. So, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ed. They're at least native to the Northeast. All of them aren't native to right here, but they all have signs, and we're working on that. They all have signs, so they could be educational too. And I can only take part of the credit. The other 60% of the credit goes to Melissa Semple, who's done as much work and put as much blood, sweat, and tears into that as I have, if not more. But without further ado, thank you so much for coming. Thank someone who made Cachalot possible for you. Please visit the trading post, visit the dining hall, see the wonderful work that's been done here, and visit your favorite spot of camp before you head home today. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you to our honorees today.